All right, we'll circle back to Aqua Ridge. So we're on the disagreement, didn't see her for a while, saw her on July 13th. And you were at her residence. What was the plan for that evening?
I didn't know. It was just to spend time together and maybe talk about the relationship some, but we were conversing. We had conversations.
Were the kids there that night?
They were not.
Okay, so it's just the two of you at the residence?
Just the two of us.
All right, and did the subject of relocation come up?
Yes.
In what context?
It came up in the context of whenever Wendy got back from Miami, she was always very upset about the fact that the relocation had previously been denied. I mean, it had been legally denied, but she wasn't over it. It was a constant refrain about how much she hated Tallahassee. So we're talking about the future relationship, and I'm asking, are you going to be here? Because with the constant complaining about how hard it was on her parents to transport the kids and just the constant complaining, I was just thinking, is she even going to be here? Is it worth trying to push forward in the relationship? And she said the only way that I'd ever relocate is if something would have to happen to Danny.
Subject to the same ruling at sidebar. The objection is overruled pending the other matters that do have to be addressed. You may continue, Ms. Kappelman.
Please repeat your answer.
Yeah, the only way she'd ever be able to relocate is if something happened to Danny, was the first statement.
Okay, and did she mention anything further about something happening to Danny?
Can I give the context before the next?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was getting a little tired of this whole drama around the relocation. And so I pushed back on Wendy a little bit and said, like, you're going to have to kind of make your peace with this. You're going to have to take some responsibility for this. You're linked to Dan Markel for life. Kind of challenged her a little bit. And she said, well, can I tell you something confidentially? And I said, sure. And she said, last summer.
Same ruling remains. The objection is overruled. You may continue with your answer.
She
Can
said,
I tell you something in confidence?
Yeah, can I tell you something? After I challenge her, can I tell you something in confidence? Sure. Well, last summer, my brother looked into all options possible to take care of the Danny Markel problem, including hiring a hitman, and it would cost about $15,000.
Okay, and when she referred to her brother, she's got two of those, right?
She said Charlie.
Okay. And when she said Charlie looked into hiring a hitman, are you familiar with Charlie's joke? I looked into hiring a hitman, but got you a TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper.
Yeah, Wendy had told me that joke a couple of times. This was not that joke.
Okay, so this was something different.
Yeah, the joke was said with levity. It's a dark joke, but this I found chilling. I found disturbing. It made my stomach flip. It kind of took me aback. She was dead serious when she said this. And she'd asked to tell me in confidence, which you don't do before you tell a joke.
Okay. So I want to take you to the next day then. So we're at July 14th, the Monday before the murder.
Yes.
Did you see Wendi Adelson on that date?
Yes. We had contact throughout the day trying to arrange some kind of date. It kind of ebbed and flowed. But she was real enthusiastic about seeing me at one point, and then like mid-afternoon, let's just meet at yoga is what was decided. So we went to yoga.
Okay, what happened after yoga?
Well, I was wondering why we were at yoga, because when he was being very strange, I felt like the relationship was over. She wasn't feeling well. I'm not a big yoga guy, so I didn't understand why we were at yoga for like 80 minutes, stretching. But then when we left yoga, we barely spoke, and I was just getting a vibe that this is over. Tried to talk about the relationship, didn't go very well. It was pretty clear to me. My internal thoughts were like, well, this is over. And she didn't want to spend time with me the rest of the week, so I just put my hands up like this. I remember this vividly, and just turned around and walked away.
Where were you when that was happening?
We're in the parking lot of Journey's Yoga over by Winn-Dixie.
Okay, so you have your two respective vehicles there, and
Yes.
you're parting ways.
Yes.
Okay, what happens as you walk away?
Get about 10, 15 feet away from her, and she calls after me. I turn around, and she had a series of detailed questions about what I would be doing on Friday. I had a trip to Tennessee planned, and she wanted to know if I was going on that trip, and she wanted to know what route I would be taking. And if I didn't go on the trip, why wouldn't I go on the trip? And I answered the questions as best I could, but I was confused why, at that moment, she wanted to know the details of what I was doing on Friday when she expressly didn't want to spend time with me on Friday.
Okay, and we now know that Dan Markel was murdered on Friday.
Yes.
Right? If you had taken the trip as planned, which is as you reported to Wendi that day, what would your route have been?
I would have left my house at about 11 a.m., which Wendi knew. I'd related my plan to her earlier in the relationship. Needed to get to Atlanta for dinner and was worried about traffic and stuff like that. So I would have left at 11, and I would have driven down. I would have got to Capitol Circle in Thomasville, which is close enough to Danny's house that it kind of gave me the creeps. It was kind of weird. Yeah.
Okay, so physically you're saying you might have been sort of consistent with how the killers fled town.
Yeah.
Okay, and after this yoga date and the discussion of your travel plans, did you get an email from Wendi?
I did.
I'm going to publish what's been introduced into evidence as states 64GG. Is this the email she sent you after the yoga date?
Yes.
All right, so is she breaking up with you? Is that clear?
No, she's asking, well, I considered based on our interaction, I thought this is over. I had told Wendy if she wanted to break up with me, she doesn't like confrontation, just send me an email or text. She sends me this, which strings everything out for a week. So she's not breaking up. Functionally, that's realistically, I'm not dumb, I'm thinking we're over. But she's asking for another week, which brings it to the 21st of July. And I was puzzled. I wondered what in the world is going to happen July 21st. But I just didn't respond because she asked for no contact.
All right, so she wants to have no contact for a week.
Right.
Okay. All right, I was able to find that photo I was looking for earlier, 86A. I can show you that. Recognize 86A?
Yeah, that's Wendy's Adelson's residence on Aqua Ridge, and that's what it looked like when we were dating.
Okay. Moving to evidence 86A.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
86A is admitted at this time.
May I publish?
You may.
All right, so I blurred the boys' faces, but this is how the residents at Aqua Ridge appeared.
Yes.
And the kids' art that's shown on the wall here, was that present during the time that you were dating Wendi Adelson?
Yes.
Was it something that like art would come down, other art would go up, or was it pretty fixed?
It was, maybe some art would get added, but I never saw any come down until July 14th.
Right.
13th, sorry, July 13th.
July 13th, you noticed that the art had been taken down?
We walked into the kitchen, and then Wendi was pulling art off the wall, the only time I'd ever seen her do that.
Okay. And I want to ask you about, I've nicknamed it the celebration dinner. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
topic? Okay. Could you tell the jury about that, please?
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for hearsay on understanding court's prior rule.
Objection is overruled.
Wendi and I reestablished phone contact about 10 days after the murder. She called me, and we had 3 or 4 phone calls. In one of them, she related that her and Charlie had gone to what Charlie called a celebration dinner, and at that dinner, Charlie said something to her. She didn't specify what it was, and she spontaneously vomited all over the table.
Are you aware, sir, that you were suggested as a potential suspect in
Yes.
this murder? Where were you when Dan Markel was murdered?
I was in Tennessee because I had left on my trip the night before.
So
rather
you
than
changed your plan.
I changed my plans at the last minute.
All right, and you provided law enforcement with some receipts and things to prove that you were in Tennessee at the time?
All that, and I got a flat tire, so I ended up getting videotaped at a Kmart. And I know the TPD used that to exclude me with the timestamp on the surveillance footage.
May I have one moment, Your Honor? At some point, did you learn that the killers came to Tallahassee in June, not just in July?
Yes, when the arrests were made and the documents were released, I learned that, yes.
And did you put together some facts about your travel plans that day that could have potentially made you a suspect on that trip as well if the murder had happened as
Yeah,
planned?
that Friday, I was scheduled to go to a business trip in Gainesville, leaving at 11 a.m. So 2 times in 2014, I leave town on a trip by myself in my car, and both times hitmen are in town trying to kill Danny Markel, once successfully, obviously.
Are you familiar with the type of vehicle that was originally rented by the killers in June to make that June trip?
I am.
Okay. And was that significant to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is long after this all happened. I'm learning this from court proceedings in 2016. But when I heard they rented a gray Altima initially, I had a 2004 Nissan Sentra. That freaked me out because that's about as close as you were going to get to my car on the rental market.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Demonstrative Exhibit G. You recognize this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is this the make and model of it's not the actual rental car, but the make and model of the rental car compared to the make and model of your vehicle?
Yeah, my car's right on top. That looks just like the car I had at the time.
Permission to publish G, Your Honor?
You may.
I have one more moment to confer, please. No further questions, Judge.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor, just a moment. Morning.
Good morning.
And it's Dr. Lacasse, correct?
Jeff is fine. Mr. Lacasse is fine.
You testified that it was your understanding that my client, Donna Adelson, was aware of the motion that the state has called the grandmother motion.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how she took that?
It was I'm hearing this stuff from Wendi.
Okay.
Um,
Well, do you know how she took it?
I mean, I wasn't there to observe her reaction. The whole family was upset about every one of these motions, was my impression, information coming from Wendi.
Okay. And so the only person that you spoke with about how the family took things was from Wendi?
Putting Charlie's,
Aside from Charlie in the hospital,
aside from Charlie in the hot tub, it was all through Wendi. That's correct, sir.
isn't it true that you found Wendi, let me find the exact quote. Didn't you find Wendi to be a deeply deceitful person?
Yes, depending on the topic. I mean, that's true. But a lot of the stuff she told me about her family was later released in evidence. I'm talking about the kids getting...
Your Honor, I'd move to strike that response.
To stay, Mr. Lacasse, you are only to respond to the question that you are asked. Members of the jury, the portions of the answer that were non-responsive you were not to consider. You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. You yourself do not have any personal knowledge as to how my client, Donna Adelson, took the grandmother motion, do you?
No.
Isn't it true that you only had limited small talk with my client, Donna Adelson?
That's correct.
Now let's talk about the damage to the television that you observed in June of 2014. Can you tell us again how you described that?
Yeah, there was a spider web pattern, like in the center of the screen, and it radiates outwards. Anywhere it's been cracked, it will pixelate. So you can see what's going on. You can track it, but it's not pleasant, and you would never watch that TV. And we watched a whole movie on that TV at Wendy's insistence, which was why I remember this. It was a very strange evening.
Didn't you suggest going to watch the movie on another TV?
Yes, I did. There was a perfectly good TV in the other room. That's correct.
And she made a fuss.
I tried to respect Wendy's boundaries, her house, her kids, so she didn't have to make a fuss. It's an awkward situation dating someone who has, 2 kids, so I'm not insisting on anything. But the kids were whining about the broken TV. That is correct, sir.
Made it difficult to even really watch or enjoy the movie.
That's right.
Could you tell us about how big that impact was?
Fist sized?
Adult or child?
I don't remember with that precision.
You testified about a statement that Wendi Adelson said to you on July 13th of 2014 that she wanted to say to you in confidence.
Yes.
And it was that her brother looked into hiring a hitman.
Her brother, Charlie.
Her brother, Charlie.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Just a moment, Your Honor.